Hello, I'm Linda Nazareth, and I'm an economist and a keynote speaker. And I know this is a really confusing time to be looking at the economy, so much going on. What I wanted to do is take a few minutes, show you a few pictures, and give you a 5-minute guide to the economy. So, where do we start? Well, I'm going to start with the big picture, which is that the news is good. Overall, we have lots of reasons to be optimistic about 2021. It's been such a tough year, 2020, and we have more to get through in terms of getting through this pandemic. But again, lots of reasons to be upbeat because with the vaccines, we can be pretty sure we're going to be back to decent levels of economic activity next year. And here's a reason why you should believe me. Here's copper prices, and copper prices are absolutely climbing, and that is really key because copper is the commodity some people say has a PhD in economics, moves with the economy and ahead of the economy. And what you're seeing here is optimism that we are looking at more building, more industrial production next year, particularly from China, but also from all large economies. So that is a really important thing to take note of. In terms of China, since I mentioned that, also interesting that we're seeing great signals from that economy. And this matters not just for China's sake, but because China's the second largest economy in the world. So if we're seeing higher industrial production there, that's a really key signal. And we're absolutely seeing higher exports from China. This is, again, an important thing to take note of. It means other parts of the world, Europe, North America, are buying goods from China because their economies are getting stronger. So what we're seeing is this climb in exports, the end of the graph there, and that is partly because personal protection equipment is made in China, and that's going elsewhere, but also because countries like the United States are buying fridges and stoves, appliances, because people there are making their kitchens look nicer, perhaps for lockdowns. And that's a sign of optimism too. And again, we want to see how long it takes China to get out of this because they were hit by the pandemic first. Now, speaking of the United States, there are positive signals there too, but also signals that we should be a little bit cautious on the near term. Speaking particularly about retail sales, we got the numbers for November. They were disappointing. Disappointing, and as well the numbers for October were disappointing. So here is what we have in terms of a picture. We had retail sales plunge during the worst of the pandemic, then come up again, and then come back down in most recent months. Probably some caution there because we do have bad news in terms of COVID cases, more lockdowns happening. We'll have to see what happens. Here's an interesting graph I wanted to share with you too, though. This is e-commerce as a percentage of total sales, and what it is showing is that people were buying everything online, the Amazons and the like doing really well. And that's kind of tapered off a little bit as people have gotten out to stores again. So we'll have to see if that's a trend or it moves back up again. You can see the trend was absolutely that e-commerce was climbing, but not climbing to the extent we saw pre-pandemic. Question is, does it come down to where we were pre-pandemic, or do we keep a lot of people buying online? I'm going to guess we keep this fairly elevated. And finally, one more graph, this one in Canada. And I wanted to show you this because its savings rates in Canada mirrors a lot of what we're seeing elsewhere in the world. During the worst of the pandemic, Canadians saved a ton of money. Savings rate out of income, 27% plus. That's crazy. It's really out of sync with what you see there in terms of the rest of the pattern. And that changed a little bit in the third quarter, that people started to spend again. They left their houses a little bit and they took some of the savings and put them out there. So we'll see if that continues. It's really key though, because when we talk about 2021, we're asking ourselves, are we going to see this surge because people have money they saved, they want to get back out there and they want to spend it, or will there still be caution? So this is a leading indicator that we may see a bunch of spending. So lots to talk about when we look at the economy. Don't want to overwhelm you with pictures right now, but I'll be back soon with more on the 5-minute economy.